Hello guys, Crispy here, welcome back to another Sunday video. In this one, my friends, we're gonna be testing the GeForce GTX 560 Ti 2GB in 2024. Now, the 2GB variant of the GTX 560 Ti is actually quite a rare GPU. You can't really find it that often in the used market. I did find this one for 45 bucks, and well, I probably overpaid for what it is, but I really wanted to take a look at it. So this is a mid-range Fermi GPU from 2011, guys. It's 13 years old at this point. It's quite a grandpa, this one. It has 384 CUDA cores, and yes, back then that was quite a lot for a mid-range card, actually. It also has 64 TMUs, 32 ROPs, 2 GB or 1 GB of GDDR5 memory, and a 256-bit memory bus. These days, you find a 128-bit memory bus on a 4060 Ti. Also, the 560 Ti started at 250 bucks back when it released, but that was for the 1GB model. I couldn't really find the price for a 2GB model, but it's probably like 20, 30, maybe 50 bucks maximum higher than the 1GB. This being a Fermi GPU, I expected it to consume quite a lot of power, but in reality it only consumes around 170 watts, and unfortunately, because it's so old, it doesn't support the latest drivers anymore, so we're stuck to the 391.35 version of the drivers from 2018. This means that it will limit it in a lot of games. It could perform a little bit better. This also means that it can't launch many of the newer titles that we have today, unfortunately, and that's why I'm sticking to older popular titles and the few recent ones that can actually launch on this thing. But that's enough intro, guys. Let's play some games on the 560 Ti 2GB model. Also, guys, before we do that, let's have a little throwback to the first time that I tested the GTX 560 Ti here in the channel. It was quite a fun one. Be testing a GeForce GTX 560 Ti in 2021. Alright, now let's get into it, shall we? And let's start with Counter-Strike 2. We're playing at 1080p resolution using the low settings, no FSR, and I disabled the boost player contrast as well. Alright, we just started a deathmatch here in the Dust 2, and it's going pretty well in terms of FPS. Like, it's not dropping from 60 frames per second just yet, although it might, and it will definitely do that if you play competitive with some smoke effects and so on. Obviously, that's much more intensive, but look at that. It's handling it like a champ, a 13-year-old champ, my friends. That's pretty impressive. Oh, come on, you are AFK. Now, I am feeling quite a bit of input lag right now, guys, because the FPS are close to 60. If it was 100 plus FPS all of the time, it would be much better. So I think, yeah, if you're playing this game competitively, you might be better off using like 720p resolution or 1024 by 768, which is very popular as well. Now, there's also something that you can do about the input lag, and that is if you lock the FPS to 60 or even like 55, I'm gonna set it to like 55 right there, and the FPS are actually going to be a little bit above that, but this reduces the GPU utilization by a little bit and makes things a lot more responsive. It's kind of like what Nvidia Reflex does, you know? It lowers GPU utilization slightly, and that delivers a way faster response experience. Oh my god, dude, these guys just keep on coming from different angles, and I can't do it. Stop it! You bastards! Where did the other one go? Come on, got him. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna unlock the FPS again because, well, this is a benchmark video. I want to see what it's truly capable of. And let's check out the smokes now. And as you can see, it's already dropping down into the 40s. Honestly, I was expecting like 30s. And if I throw the AG grenade, it will probably drop down into the 30s. Yep, 37, 38. Again, for casual play, it's fine. It's not amazing, but it's fine. Oof. If you throw a smoke and fire grenade, yeah, it will drop things like crazy. All right, you know what? Let's drop it down 720p resolution, low settings, still in the casual match right here. And as you can see, it's getting 100 plus FPS where it was getting 70, 72 frames here in the base with everyone. And let's see it with the smoke as well. It drops down to the 70s, 60s. It's still going to dip from 60 FPS with the AG grenade right there. Yep, 57, but that's not really a problem, I think. And with the incendiary next to the smoke, it drops into the 40s, so no 20s anymore. That's much better, you know. And again, if you don't have any smokes and fire effects and explosions on screen, you can get up to those smooth frame rates, smooth refresh rates of 120 Hz, 144 Hz or FPS easily here at 720p res. Next up we got XDefiant, a 2024 release that still works on Fermi GPUs like these. It's kind of insane, I know. We're playing at 720p using the lowest settings here and 100% resolution scale. Alright, look at this, guys. We're getting just below 60 FPS, sometimes above 60 FPS, but this is a closed area of the map. Oh boy, it's starting to drop into the 50s here. It's not gonna be amazing for a game like this, honestly. This is a fast-paced shooter, kind of like Call of Duty, and yeah, it struggles quite a bit, okay? Unfortunately, because I've seen the 750 Ti, which is similar in performance, at least in older titles, to this GPU, especially the 2GB model, you know, and well, that GPU could do 100 FPS at these settings. So, yeah, clearly the drivers aren't really optimized for this. They're from 2018 anyways. The 750 Ti still supports the latest drivers, and that's a huge, huge difference. Now, is this still an enjoyable experience? Well, if you're a super casual player that doesn't care about graphics or the smooth 60 FPS experience all of the time, I guess it's playable, it's stable at the very least, since the VRAM, the allocation there is maxing out, but the actual usage wouldn't be maxing out. This game doesn't read the usage of the VRAM, unfortunately, so I can't really know it for sure. But yeah, the RAM usage is staying very, very low here, so it means that it isn't really swapping anything from VRAM to RAM, and if it was the 1GB model, it would have been unplayable, because I've seen at least some people in the comments saying that with their 1GB cards, the game is just not playable at all. But alright, props to Ubisoft as well for making this game run on such old GPUs. Again, it's not a fantastic experience, but it is playable, and something like GTX 580 again will be able to play and push 60 plus FPS easily on this. You know what? I thought it would get a ton of graphical issues and bugs, you know, flashing lights and stuff, since the GPU and the drivers are so old, and this is a 2024 game. But no, it is absolutely fine. I mean, in that regards, this is great. Next up is Stutter Night at 1080p resolution using the performance mode and the low settings with far view distance, and surprisingly it wasn't too stuttery in the waiting lobby area, whatever you want to call it, so I believe it's going to be quite a stable experience. It's actually the first game of the day as well. I haven't played one prior to this test, and it seems like it's stable, guys. There are no graphical bugs. The stability is decent for Stutter Night, at least. The FPS are high, above 60 FPS all of the time, apparently. And I mean, this is insane. And I mean, when I tried the GTS 450, which is a 1GB GPU, also from the Fermi architecture, I didn't see a heck of a lot of stuttering like with other GPUs. Right now, since I picked up the car, it is stuttering a little bit more because we're traveling faster through the map. But yeah, it doesn't seem to be as bad as the GT 1030 was for some reason. This is pretty impressive for such an old GPU. Alright, this area seems to be a little bit more intensive than where we were previously, dropping down into the 80s, lower 80s at times, probably 70s. But it is going to be playable, guys. Is someone there? I kind of want to kill someone, you know, like, or at least try to. There he is. There he is. Wait a second. Wait. Hello? Buddy? Buddy? Please. Come over here. He saw us. He saw us, guys. There we go. Come on. All right. All right. Oh! That was terrible, I'm sorry. Next is GTA 5, and in this one the 2 GB of VRAM do make quite a bit of a difference. As you can see, we're using the high settings here, high textures as well, and we're not running out of VRAM just yet, which is nice. On the advanced graphics, everything is turned off, and look at that, guys. I'm guessing it's going to be a 60 FPS average experience, maybe more than that. It's dropping quite a bit right now into the lower 50s though. What are you doing in the middle of the road? But yeah, this is quite a smooth experience, guys. Of course, there is room for improvement if you want to drop down the settings a little bit to like normal shadows, for example. Actually, sharp shadows instead of the soft shadows that we're using right now. But I think the shadow quality actually has a normal setting as well, maybe. Anyway, yeah, I don't care about these people. No, nobody cares about them. They're always here. They know what they're in for. Alright, we're approaching Jack's Hill, my friends. It's going to be very intensive, I can tell. Yep, dropping down into the 30s. Look at that. Damn, that is intensive, right? But as long as it doesn't drop from 30 FPS, I think it's fine. I was expecting a little bit better coming from the 560 Ti, though, but it's all right. It's still very playable. Hello, Jack. How you going? Beautiful. He's always very beautiful, right? Very nice. But yeah, I thought it would get above 60 on average, as I told you, and now it's dropping into the 50s. 29 right there, minimum. Okay, yeah, the grass is super demanding for these old GPUs, apparently. Actually, even for the recent GPUs, the grass in GTA 5 is just the Achilles heel of every card. But it's working fine, right? 30 FPS, 1% lows. It's only going to dip here and there in very intensive, bushy scenarios. And if you want more FPS, you can lower it down. Alright, let's wreck the little 560 Ti, shall we? This is Red Dead Redemption 2 at 720p resolution using the lowest settings. It says Vulkan right there, and it's grayed out, but it's in DirectX 12 because this doesn't support Vulkan, and it does support the X12 through the drivers. Doesn't work in a lot of the X12 games though. And we're also using half resolution scale, which means that we're playing at 360p resolution. How beautiful is this? Now, this game does not run well on Fermi GPUs. It can't even max out GPU utilization here because, well, the architecture is just old. It wasn't coded to run on these old GPUs, basically, and yeah, it struggles to take advantage of the architecture. That's the main issue. The drivers themselves are also outdated for the game, obviously. We got a little warning message in this one as well when I started it, saying that we should download the latest drivers, 500 and something dot something. This is 391.35 again, so of course it's heavily outdated, and it shows right here. It's not a playable experience in Red Dead Redemption 2, unfortunately. Yeah, Fermi is basically obsolete for Red Dead Redemption 2, unfortunately. It also makes you appreciate XDefiant even more, right? Next up we got PUBG, and we're playing this one at 720p using the very low settings with 100% resolution scale. Okay, here we go. It's dropping a lot. Holy! I saw 29 FPS there for a second. This is Pochinki City, the most beautiful city in gaming, basically. Okay, I dropped here more than 200 times at this point. No, there's a guy over here. Oh no, and it's stuttering. It's Stutter G, my friends. It's not PUBG anymore. Okay, I got it. Let's go. Oh my god, it's so stuttery, dude. It's not because of the VRAM or anything. It's just stuttery because the game is stuttery. It's probably the Unreal Engine as well. Alright, 5 FPS, 1% lows. That's terrible, guys. That is actually terrible. But right now it has smoothed out, it seems like. It's not stuttering anymore. Maybe it was because it was loading things. You know, let's stop it right there and restart the counting system. Anyway, the FPS are decent, you know. It's definitely a playable experience, but it's very similar to what a GT 1030 delivers in this title as well. But yeah, overall, I could definitely play like this. I enjoyed a lot of PUBG back in the days with 40 FPS. Drops into the 30s as well. My god. So this is certainly more playable and more stable than what I started playing PUBG on. And I was on an i7 4th gen at the time in a GTX 1060. It was still running worse than this. Obviously, at 1080p high settings or medium settings, but the game was so terribly optimized that you couldn't really achieve more than 40-something FPS. Okay, people are shooting at us. Let's see. Let's see. Where from? Where from? Come on. Where are you? Jesus! It's a good player. We're screwed, guys. We're screwed. A good player started shooting at us. Oh, boy. Okay, couple of them, actually. Next is Dota 2 at 1080p resolution using what is essentially medium settings here with a slider and 100% resolution scale. And let's start counting our FPS. It's getting 70s right here with all of these effects. Let's see if Dark Willow can actually move away from these guys. Oh my god. Oh, that was a nice one. Okay, so 80s, 70s, very stable frame time graph right there. Very impressive indeed. But I mean, this is an older game as well. Like, it's very, very easy to run. It's an esports title, so it needs to run well. And the 560 Ti is more than enough to handle this particular title, as you can see. You could even go up to like high settings, but then it would probably get like 60 average with some drops into the 50s. Medium already looks pretty decent, and it's going to be a buttery smooth experience. Let's wait for another team fight. All right, here we go. We got the team fight that I was waiting for. It still drops into the 50s and 40s at medium settings, so high is definitely not ideal. 30s as well. So it's playable, but it's very inconsistent when it comes to team fights and stuff like that. You can be getting 90 frames per second, even 100 frames per second with nothing happening on screen. But then a team fight pops up and it drops into the 30s. That's a little bit concerning. So not amazing for that competitive play, obviously, but I mean, it's 2011 GPU. You're probably not playing the game very competitively anyways if you're running something like this. The mouse still runs at 60 FPS, so it's fine. You can have precision with everything, even with low FPS, you know. The gameplay itself is just going to be a little bit slower or feel a little bit more choppy. Again, it's still going to be a very playable experience anyways, and it's going to look pretty decent on medium settings in 2024. Oh no, guys, this is Rust. It's way more intensive than it used to be. I remember playing with these settings. Okay, this is 1080p using potato quality settings, render scale set to the maximum there, the draw distance set to 1300, shader level 300, and the tree quality set to 100. Everything else is off or at the minimum, and it's getting 30-ish frames per second. Whereas like 4 years ago, when I last tested the GTX 560 Ti 1GB model, it was, first of all, it was consuming 11 gigabytes of RAM instead of almost 20, okay? That's crazy in itself. And second, it was getting like 50 to 60 FPS instead of 30 to 40 frames per second. Now, obviously, this had a big update since 2020. It overhauled the grass, for example. It's much more impressive looking at this point, although a little bit less green, and I like the greenery, but still, this game is definitely way more intensive than it used to be, and it's a bit unfortunate, you know, but still, the 560 Ti manages 30 plus FPS pretty much at all times at 1080p native resolution. Can't be mad at that once again. 13-year-old GPU, and it's still playing this at 30 FPS, and I mean 30 FPS is playable for Rust unless, again, you want to play competitively. Now, where you're gonna see the least FPS is inside of these denser forest areas. We started in one of them. This one is a bit more dense. It has more vegetation, as you can see, more trees and so on. But it's not dropping our FPS by too much, which is pretty impressive. You know, again, it's going to be stable, but it's just 30 FPS stable. Also, there are areas like Bandit Camp where it might drop a little bit further than this. I myself have seen that Bandit Camp isn't as intensive as these big forest areas, you know, but a lot of people do say that they drop more FPS in Bandit Camp, so be warned, you might actually see 28 FPS sometimes, maybe like 29 FPS, but it shouldn't drop too much from that. Oh yes, wait a second, I forgot that the torch also kills our FPS a little bit. It lowers them. It's still keeping up there. What the heck, dude? 30 FPS flat right there with the torch as well. Alright, 3060 Ti, not terrible. But seriously, Rust developers need to optimize this game. Not necessarily for the 560 Ti, that's doing a fantastic job for its age. I got no complaints here. But that RAM usage? That's not normal, come on. Okay, so next I wanted to try some Palworld and Manor Lords, but both of these just don't launch, guys, unfortunately. This is a DirectX 11 title, so supposedly it launches. It gives us the famous warning message because of the drivers. We can't install the newer ones, and then it just crashes like that. It's, yeah, it's the same thing with Manor Lords. That's also a DX11 title. And as you can see, exactly the same error right here. So these games can't run on Fermi GPUs, unfortunately. Next is War Thunder. We're playing at 1080p using the medium settings preset. All right, 50s is what we're getting, and 40s as well. Wow, okay. Native 1080p resolution. The game looks pretty decent here on medium settings, not gonna lie. The graphics are alright, aside from some of the textures, like the ground textures, leave a little bit to be desired, but it's certainly very playable. And the thing is, I started this on minimum settings, okay, and I was getting 150 frames per second. So that was absolutely insane. There is a lot of scaling here in this game in terms of quality and performance as well, which is awesome. If you want a high refresh rate experience, you can have it on minimum settings. If you want a decent quality, visual quality experience, that is, you can also have it here on medium settings. It's quite good, you know. I also killed a lot of tanks, or destroyed a lot of them on minimum settings, and here I can't even see them, but okay. And I guess we're gonna try to go from behind them over. Oh my god, that's a big one right there! Jesus! Okay, okay. All right, maybe we shouldn't be doing this. Oh boy, he saw us, critical hit, let's go. Okay, got this one. All right, I don't want to do this, anymore. This was a terrible idea. Also, guys, I saw that when you go to the spectating mode, when you die, basically. Oh, that one is looking at us. Wait a second. All right, that one's down. Come on. It lowers our FPS by a lot, okay, on spectating mode, and it drops down into the 30s on medium settings. Still not terrible, you know, it's definitely a playable experience here. Come on, are we good? Hit! No! We're stopped! Okay, we're not good anymore. But as you can see, as we exploded, it got 40 FPS, and now that we're spectating, it's dropping down into the 30s. But it's not a problem, it's very stable, even here, right? So you can rest assured it's going to be amazing here in War Thunder. Now we're playing Apex Legends at 720p resolution using the lowest settings and very low textures, because that's the recommendation for 2 GB of VRAM. Oh boy, look at that. It's dropping from 30 FPS while looking at the entire map. Now the good thing is, this is pretty much the most intensive thing that you're gonna do in this game. Dropped from the spaceship while looking at the map. Digimoon is gonna like this map. Her favorite color is actually purple, so yeah, it's perfect. She's probably going to start playing some Apex just because of this. Am I right? Anyway, down here, FPS are actually quite decent, between 50 and 60 frames per second most of the time, with the slight drops here and there into the 40s. But yeah, the averages aren't too terrible. It just sucks a little bit that this game is very inconsistent when it comes to the FPS that you get in different areas, in different scenarios, with smokes and so on. Speaking of, I'm just gonna throw smoke here. Oh boy, and now I'm gonna die. Come on. Okay, maybe we should go in that direction, right? No. Please. I want to see it a little bit more. Come on. Oh, I'm gonna die. There's no way around this. Okay. I'm fine still. Oh boy. Please don't do this. All right. Somehow we survived that, guys, with very low HP, but we made it. I'm gonna heal myself now. Let's see the minimum FPS while we're actually playing the game, with an ultimate going on, with smoke effects added to it as well. Let's see. Okay, so it drops to 32 frames per second. Not terrible. Once again, a little bit better than seeing the map from above. And again, for a casual gamer, it's all right. I think some of my friends that are PC gamers, usually indie title gamers, but yeah, they would still enjoy this game like this. So who am I to say it's unplayable? It's not. Let's test Fallout 4 next at 1080p using the low settings preset here. And I'm also going to disable ambient occlusion because that's usually pretty intensive in this title. Everything else is set to the low preset. Alright, here we go. Native 1080p resolution using the low settings in a 2015 AAA title with a 2011 GPU. That doesn't sound that great, right? But it is providing a decent experience once again. Like, yeah, it's dropping down into the 30s sometimes, and I'm in the middle of nowhere, but it's actually more intensive for the GPU to handle these areas with a lot of vegetation and bushes and so on than it is in a big city. I'm seeing a lot of spikes in the frame time graphs, a lot of stuttering issues, you know? That's not great, guys. It's not feeling good whatsoever with 1% lows. God, come on. Come on. Just shoot the thing. There we go. It actually drops down into the 20s when I did that, the zoom in thing. Maybe the stutters were due to loading new areas. I'm not sure, because with higher end GPUs, I didn't really see that happening. But right now, it is smooth. Well, never mind. We just got a big stutter again. It's not VRAM related because it's not swapping things into the RAM. God. Why? What the heck? Why am I stuck here? Why can't I move? Oh my gosh, of course, it's a Bethesda title. It says you cannot go that way. Now, those stutters are annoying the hell out of me, so I'm gonna lock the FPS to 30 frames and see if that helps. Right now, with 30 FPS locked, it will be a much more consistent experience, you know, and hopefully it won't stutter as much. Okay, I still haven't seen a spike in the frame time graph, which is nice. Sorry for the screen tearing right now, by the way. This doesn't have G-Sync, so can't really utilize that feature. Okay, now I fast traveled to Diamond City right here. Oof. Lots of stuttering again, and I unlocked the FPS again, by the way, so we can get up to like 40-something FPS. That's the real performance of what the GPU can do, of course. Yeah, that stutter, man, come on, mate. I was really expecting it to be a smooth 40-ish FPS with like 1% lows in the 30s, but with those huge stutters every now and again, it actually kills the experience quite a bit, guys. Not gonna lie. Look at that. What the hell is that? Right? And now we're playing probably the easiest game to run out of the list, Valorant, at 1080p using high settings here, as you can see. But these are all turned off. These are more intensive. And let's play a little deathmatch. We're getting up to 250, guys. 250 frames. If you buy something better than like a 1650 just to play Valorant with, it's completely wasted. At least at 1080p with the high settings, if you can call them that. Let's call them custom settings because the more intensive settings are turned off, as I told you. There we go. Can we win this one? I'm not sure. I'm usually not great in Valorant, honestly. Now, the thing is, I would still lock the FPS to 144 or something like that, below our 1% lows, basically, because there is still that slight bit of input lag to be had from locking the frames and not running 99% GPU utilization. But I'm talking in a very competitive level here, you know? No one who is going to get 200 plus FPS on average in this game is going to care about that little input lag difference, especially playing with a GTX 560 Ti. Alright, there we go. Oh, no. Okay, I'm fine. Why do I keep switching to the knife? It's a bad idea. Come on, can I get that one, please? Oh my god, that was terrible. And with that, my friends, I give up from Valorant. You get the idea. It gets very, very good FPS here, and this is more than you need to play this game, actually. Even a GT 700 series should be decent in Valorant. Oh, what the hell was that kill, dude? Now we're playing Far Cry 5 at 720p using the lowest settings. Let's disable motion blur as well. Not sure why that's enabled. And as you can see, we're getting around 30 to 40 frames per second. It's probably not going to be that amazing of an experience, honestly. but it's playable. And Far Cry 5 is a game from 2018, if I'm not mistaken, so it's kind of impressive that it runs on a mid-range GPU from 2011. Okay, so I just started a new game because for some reason I lost my previous save. This is still the starting island, you know, it's not really that intensive, so in some areas it might actually drop down from 30 frames per second, and I'm trying to find one of them things that you can actually explode. Oh, this is quite snappy, actually. There's not much of an input lag because you're playing with 30 FPS, honestly. I thought there would be more. Okay, anyway, I found one of those guys. I found one of those things that you can explode, so bear with me. Bear with me. Let's just kill all of these bastards right here. Come on. Come on. Die. There we go. And you. Nope, buddy. I need to kill it. There we go. There we go. You need to die. And now, let's explode the thing. Why was there a gas thingy? I have no idea, but there we go. No FPS drops by the explosion, by the way. That's pretty impressive. It shows you how well optimized this game is. But yeah, that's been it for Far Cry, guys. I failed the mission. Of course I did. If you want to play any other Far Cry that came before this one, it will play fantastic on a 560 Ti. And I highly recommend you to play Far Cry 3, which is one of my favorite games of all time. And now it's time for Overwatch 2. It's been a really long time since I tried this one, but it works with this GPU, so let's go. 1080p resolution using 100% resolution scale. Let's set the maximum FPS to 600 just in case. It's never going to achieve that. High textures and low settings, what we're using. Let's do this. Here we go. I'm going to start counting the FPS, and it's great to see that even with the update to Overwatch 2, the game is still quite smooth and quite playable, even on a GTX 560 Ti. Although it does drop down into the 50s sometimes at 1080p, so if you require that 60 plus FPS experience all of the time, well, go for 720p or maybe even 900p. That should be doable. But I'm sticking to 1080p because it still plays quite well. And if you use these heroes that don't require super great aiming, you know, very accurate aiming, you're gonna be fine. Absolutely. 44 FPS right there. Some drops. Okay. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. There's a fire in the hole coming. All right. He's dead, I think. Maybe. I don't know. All right. You know what? I'm done with this. Get out of my objective. It's mine. It's not yours. Come on. Get over here, you. I can't kill anybody with Winston, honestly. I'm just a huge tank that's here to take damage, not do damage, really, right? At least in this mode, total mayhem. Yeah, this is a game that I would have no problem recommending to somebody stuck with a very old lower-end system by these days, you know, this super low-end today. But yeah, it can certainly play some Overwatch. It looks decent even on low settings with all of the colors and effects and vibrancy and so on. We got one. Nice. There's the ultimate. Well, at least he wasted the ultimate on me. Also, there's no stuttering to speak of. It's just a stable experience. Just how I like it, guys. With 60-ish average. Sometimes lower, sometimes more. It's great. And finally, guys, we're playing Battlefield 1 at 1080p resolution using the low settings here and 100% resolution scale, and it's working absolutely fine here, around 60 frames per second with some drops into the 50s. But in this particular title, it just feels great, guys, for some reason. Like, Battlefield games always feel alright to me compared to other titles at like 40 frames per second plus, you know? Like, I can't play Counter-Strike with 40 FPS, but I could play Battlefield all day long with 40 frames per second. And of course, we're getting even higher FPS than that, so no problems whatsoever. But I guess it will drop into the 40s in worst case scenario, basically. Oh, look at that. Looking at the entire map from above actually drops our FPS into the 20s, but it's no problem if you're actually playing the game. The least you will see is around like 30s, apparently. Inside of here is more intensive than outside, but it's still very playable, and it's very similar performance to something like a GTX 750 Ti, since this is an older DirectX 11 title, you know. Oh boy. Okay. Come on. Let's get these guys. Okay. One more there. Oh, no. They're coming for us. Let's reload. Oh boy. Okay, wait a second. I do have some anti-tank grenades, which yeah, are not a good idea to utilize against infantry, I guess. Let's get that one over there. There we go. Sniping feels so satisfying in this one as well. Come on. Oh boy. Okay, wait. I don't have grenades anymore. I do have this, however. Guy over there. There we go. And another one over there. There we go. Boy, okay, I'm fine. Double kill. Let's throw a flare over there. See the enemies on the map, you know. And there is one in this direction. I think we can actually get him with a pistol. Oh, there he is. Come on. Hello. There we go. I got him. Okay, so I think that's it for Battlefield 1. It's awesome here with the 560 Ti. It's definitely a game that you should play and enjoy on an old system like this. And let's go to the conclusion. Alright guys, it is conclusion time, and I'll still have Rainbow Six Siege as well as Far Cry 3 running right here. Yeah, I couldn't leave Far Cry 3 out of this video. Anyway, should you buy a GTX 560 Ti in 2024? Of course not. I'm not sure who I'm talking to. Like, did you click this video thinking of buying a GTX 560 Ti? I mean, maybe if you have a GT 700 series GPU, this would be an upgrade, especially if you only play games like Dota 2, for example, League of Legends, which I didn't test, but that runs on a potato. But yeah, it can certainly be an upgrade to some people out there. But with a high TDP of 170 watts, for the performance it gets, that is, I couldn't even recommend it for those people, you know? Like, if you are in a super tight budget, you should be looking at stuff like the GTX 750, 750 Ti. Those don't consume a lot of power. They actually consume less than their rated TDPs. But yeah, those are the GPUs that I would recommend on the absolute lowest end of the spectrum, you know, if you want to play very light games, older titles and stuff like that, and you're on a super tight budget. And you know what? I had a ton of fun still making this video. You know, I really love testing these old GPUs, seeing what they're capable of, even like wrecking their performance completely with some latest titles, you know. It's just fun, right? And that's why I do it, my friends. And I hope you guys find it entertaining as well. So thanks very much for watching this video. If you're wanting to buy one of these, again, don't, unless it's for like 10 bucks. And I'll catch you in the next one very soon. As always, love you all. Bye-bye.